Hello students, and welcome to your instructional video on your last assignment in the week 1 folder. Now with the last assignment, this is also the longest, more in-depth one. And when you open this assignment, I don't want you to panic. There is a lot of information, but that is why I wanted to make sure I made a video to help you see exactly what I want you to do, as well as what you should be looking for. Now, with the week 1 discussion, can you spot bad science? This is a discussion post, meaning all of the students in the class can see your post. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're posting information. Similar to all the other ones, the blue top part of the table tells you what we're doing, what the objectives are, and how long it should take you. And then below that tells you how to get into the actual assignment. Now, the week 1 discussion is an already pre-made discussion thread. So when you click on the title link, get into the discussion board, there's already a thread made for you. So you'll click on this blue link, Can You Spot Bad Science? And that'll bring you into the thread here. For this assignment, the main thing we're going to focus on is how to pick apart articles and decide whether they're good or bad science. We are bombarded with scientific articles, statements, reports on a day-to-day basis, and being able to pick apart the information and decide whether or not there are conflicting materials, things that aren't true, like really outlandish claims, things like that. Being able to pick that apart is essential. So this is going to be not necessarily a really big in-depth piece. However, it is going to require you to look, write down information, search things, and things like that. So with this assignment, ultimately what's going to happen is I have included 2 articles that I have found online, and then other students who post will also need to include 2 articles. Your job is to go through and pick an article that is posted by another student or myself, and it cannot be done by another student. Otherwise, you'll have to redo it. So make sure that you're picking an article that hasn't been done by another student. And ultimately, you're going to use the resources that I included. One is a rough guide to spotting bad science. It has 12 main things to look for and an example or what it technically means in a bracket. So you can read that and use that. There is also a top 4 tips to spot bad science reporting using the GLAD acronym, and that's a short little video that'll tell you another way to look for specific pieces of information to know whether or not the science you're reading is good science or bad science. Once you have picked your article and looked over those resources, there are 4 talking points or 4 points that you will need to do in order to complete the discussion. You already did talking point 1 if you picked an article. So that is done. The first part is just picking an article and being able to read over that. The second talking point is more or less the bigger piece, and that's going to be where you look at your article and you pick it apart. So I want you to look for a lot of information, such as, who wrote the article? What is it about? Be specific. What was the problem? What was their hypothesis if they had one? How did they do their studies? What procedures did they use? Does the article talk about the variables being used, such as independent or dependent variables, constant variables, or controls? Now, if the actual study had these involved, they will include that within their description. We're not going to get in depth with those concepts until later into week 3. So if you don't find that, don't stress about it. If they mention it, then write it down. If they don't worry about it. And then check to see if the website is trustworthy. Is there any conflict of interest? Is there any political bias? Is there any reason as to why they would try to promote something in order to make money? Does the author have any bias? What is their background? Do they have the education to be writing a report on a specific article if it's a report? Or do they have the educational background to be doing the study and being able to come up with conclusions? And also seeing if you can find anything that fits with the 12 faults in that PDF file or in the video where they talked about the GLAD acronym. Does it fit anything in there? So again, the picking apart piece is the most important, and it's going to take you a little bit of time, but what I want you to do is really nitpick things. I want you to search, click on links. Don't be afraid to search the author, search the background, search Maybe even where the website or the company, if it's part of a company, where they get money from. Search into all of that information. So it's going to take you a little bit to do the searching. And then ultimately at the end, talk about any previous knowledge you might have that could tell you that the information is wrong. And then also talk about whether it is good science or bad science to you. So again, search, search, search. Don't be afraid to dig. Don't be afraid to click on links, all those things. Now with the third talking point, once you're done, you're going to also need to find 2 articles to include. They can be from any social media site. They can be from a different web page. They can be from Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, even TikTok. I don't know how many people include stuff from TikTok, but anything that you might be bombarded with when it comes to scientific research, just include 2 articles of your choice. You can include a file if you want to save it. You can include the actual website address so students can click on it, just as long as you have a way, as long as you have it where students can click on it and they're able to access it, and that will be just fine. And then once you have all that done, you're going to post that in a post. So talking points 1 through 3 are going to be in your original post. That's going to be where you're going to come down here and you're going to see this blue reply button. And when you click on that, it's going to open a submission text for you. Now, whether or not, once you get into the submission text, whether you are planning on just typing your information into the submission piece here, or if you have a Word document or a file you want to submit, there's a Browse My Computer link down here. You can submit your information any way that you want to. And once you have the talking points 1 through 3, meaning you have all your information, what you found, your 2 new articles, you'll put that here and then hit submit, which is this blue button in the bottom right. I'm going to hit cancel because I'm not putting any information in there. And that's going to be the first part that you're going to need to do. Then the talking point number 4 is simply commenting on another student's post. You'll notice as you scroll down and as we have students in the class, there's going to be more posts below mine. And that's going to be where you can read their information and help kind of pick apart or see if there's anything they missed. There's 3 main talking points that I want you to talk about when it comes to another student's post. And that's going to be, did they miss any faults or any of the GLAD acronym when they were peeling it apart? Did you think the student's article was good or bad science? Did it contradict what they thought? And be sure to explain. So again, anytime you have an opinion, I want you to be able to support that. And then if you heard any information that contradicts the article that they have, whether it's previous knowledge, something you read recently, a long time ago, try to explain that and give that feedback as well. And in order to put a comment on another student's post, so let's say I have a student that wants to put a comment on mine, you'll notice there is a gray reply button underneath my post right there, and that's going to be where you click. And that'll open your ability to comment on another person's post. So again, main pieces, figure out what article you want to do, pick it apart and get as much information as you can. Find 2 articles that interest you that other students can look into and decide which one they want to look into. And then you'll post that. And then your last piece is to comment on another student's post where you'll actually have to read their report or what they found. And then real quick, if you need an example, I know some students like to have examples. I made an example of kind of what to expect or what I'm anticipating with the website right here, and it's embedded for you. If you want to open up a larger copy, there's a link right here, and it'll open it into a new tab so you can have a larger font. And then I have my 2 articles that I put right here. You do not have to embed your articles like I did. As long as you have a web page or a file students can open, anything would work. But again, this is the more large assignment for week 1, so make sure that you take your time on it. I do expect more in-depth responses. It is a little bit longer, so if you want to read your article and find information one day, just write that down or put it in a Word document, you can do that. And then the next day, just plan on rearranging whatever your findings were, so it's more of a smooth conversation if you want, or if you will. And then find those other 2 articles and post that, and then you can comment on another student's post on another day. So it doesn't have to be done in one sitting. So don't feel like you have to do that. If you get stuck or if you have any questions on this, make sure you give me an email or text me, whatever it may be. Just let me know when you need help, and then I can meet with you to kind of go over anything, or if you want me to proofread what you have.